Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network. And of course, I am Constance Arnold, host of the Think, Believe, and Manifest talk show. And today I am broadcasting live with just a little touch of Southern flavor. I know you love that from magnificent Atlanta, Georgia. Guess what? I am so grateful to God that you have joined me from all over the world. And as I say every week, and I never get tired of saying it, if you are listening to this recording, to this podcast, it is no accident. Indeed, it is quite intentional because the Spirit of God has attracted you here so that you can really receive and find the solutions, the strategies, the revelation, the enlightenment that you need to begin to implement in your life so that you can begin moving forward from where you are to where you desire to be. And I am so excited about my show today. And I guess you say, Constance, you're always excited. And you are exactly right, because I'm always excited whenever the Spirit just brings on the show people who have a different slant. And I always say that every guest that I interview, that I've really attracted them to me for you so that you can begin living the life of your dreams. And so today we're going to be talking about the law of attraction, journaling, your 4-step roadmap to create the change that you really desire in your life. So my very special guest today is Dr. Michael Pearlman, MD, and he is a well-known Boston area psychiatrist and personal life strategist with a spiritual focus. And you guys know I love that. He uses the law of attraction as a touchstone to help people reveal their divine self-expression to begin living the life of our dreams. And it's been through his own personal journey. He has used journaling as a way of gaining clarity and insight, and really at a deeper level as a way of listening to his soul. The process, which has evolved over time, allowed him to use his own life as the subject of the creative process. And so this awakening has led him to develop the law of attraction journaling, which I had never heard that before. And so the law of attraction journal provides a direct route to self-realization by guiding people to effectively separate their heart's will from their ego's will. So Dr. Michael Pearlman, welcome to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Thank you, Constance. I am thrilled to be with you today.
So excited. And so you're calling from the wonderful city of Boston.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, great. Well, tell our listeners just a little bit about you before we get on the law of attraction journaling and your own journey and how this has really impacted your life.
Well, I think the journey has impacted my life because if you don't pay attention to what's going on, you're going to be taken over by it. And many times in my life, I've been taken over by circumstances, certainly finding my way through school and medical school, and also uncovering addictions, that is, alcohol addiction. And even though I was a practicing physician, successful psychiatrist, I always had a spiritual focus. Even in the background, I just could never get free of the frustrations, the irritations, the depression, the anxiety. And at some point in medical school, I said, if you can't lick them, join them. So I figured if I could learn to be a psychiatrist, which in Greek means healer of the soul, and my God, what else is there to do? So I started that journey, but I became, step by step, I guess, led that when I discovered that I was using alcohol to sedate and anesthetize myself, I immediately had an epiphany at that point, recognizing that I was powerless over it. At the same time, the terrible feeling of awakening to being an active alcoholic. I mean, here I was, a successful doctor, physician, and to have this was, on the one hand, an absolutely devastating revelation. Yet, at the same time, Constance, I felt a sense of liberation and freedom. And it was those moments, probably more than anything, is a seminal point, although there have been iterations over my life and earlier, where I truly got the distinction that it is about God's will and not my will. And I made a clear distinction between the ego, the human beingness, which was driving me, the ambitious, miserable, unhappy entity called Michael on the one hand, and that the connection that I had or was opening, or if I allowed it, to source, to freedom, happiness, joy, a sense of a spacious awareness of all that could be. All I had to do was separate one from the other. Easily said, not so easily done, but I was on my way. And so I was blessed, I would say, with a rather intensive Hebrew education. And what that meant for those may not know, that the children of the more the religiously inclined, I'm not so much today a practitioner, but that you are led into the Hebrew Bible, and you're also led to read it in the original Hebrew, although you know, in the third grade or equivalent, in second, third, fourth grade, so forth. And I was mesmerized by the story of the Garden of Eden and the two trees in the Garden of Eden. So it seems like I'm making a long road, but I'll snug it up in a moment. And in that garden were two trees. One was the fruit of the tree of life, which you could eat, cowards to eat. And the other was the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and you will enjoy, not eat of that, for you shall surely die. And Adam and Eve found themselves eating of that fruit. They discovered they were naked, and God said, "Who told you you're naked?" And suddenly they were banished out of that Garden of Eden. And what blocked them, and this was to me a motif that has absolutely, I would say, guided me and haunted me simultaneously from time to time, was that cherub with the fiery, ever-turning sword that barred their way to paradise. Now, for me, over these years, and that revelation for me of my own affliction of alcoholism, or my necessity to hold on to my own stinking thinking, as they say, I saw the most wonderful metaphor for the human being in action. That entity, that angel with that fiery, ever-turning sword barring the way to paradise. So, to cut more to the chase, I set about, throughout my work with patients and personal work and through journaling and working with patients through journaling, to see if they could clarify by looking at what they think about, and to see if they could discern that essence of that paradise, that tree of life, that spirit. The words are less important to describe it, that you know you're there. You know you're in that field of freedom and joy and a sense of connection to all that is. And the sky is the limit with respect to the imaginative possibilities and the attractive possibilities in that domain of spiritual beingness. And on the other hand, we have a human being experience here that is filled with all sorts of fears, doubts, beliefs, attitudes, all sorts of a jumble of things, good and bad. And it is an aspect of our human beings. I want to mention a quote that I've been working with and appreciative over the years. It's by Chardin, the French philosopher, last century. He said that we are not human beings having spiritual experiences. We are not human beings having spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. Again, another coin dropped, another insight. That as I began to explain the work in the journaling and work with myself and brought myself to the conversation, personally and professionally, and then help people to see by these steps, which we'll go into in a bit, understanding the method of the journal was to help you return to your spiritual beingness and know that as your truth. And then, more and more effectively and with more and more clarity, work on your human beingness. Now, let me stop and take a breath. And what say again?
I said, that's so powerful. And so how long have you been experiencing sobriety?
27 27 years.
27 years. That's so amazing. And I was so attracted to your work because of the spiritual component. So I want to talk to you about what is your definition of the law of attraction? What does it mean and how does it work?
So the law of attraction is simply another way of making understandable the fact that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we pay attention of those things we love and want more of and desire, we will find more and more that there's an affinity or proximity to our heart's desire, to love, to how we would like things to be, how we'd like things to be of service in the world. And those things are higher vibrational. And simultaneously, or in parallel, that as you are clear of your human beingness and the things that are not yet quite right, and we all awaken in this life, and we have difficulties and struggles, and it's called in Sanskrit our sadhana, our path, we find difficulties. And the more we can clarify which is which are our heart's desires, what are those things we want to expand and give attention to and attract and manifest in this life, and those things that are not yet quite right, our human beingness, which is a wonderful guide, a great sensory organ, the human body, and the human mind, and the human body, we begin to effectively separate those two distinctions. And those people that are able to hold those distinctions more and more clearly, more and more fully, are more effective at creating and manifesting with the law of attraction. The law of attraction is simply something that's been expressed in myriad ways over the millennia, from the Sermon on the Mount, the teachings in the New Testament, from Buddhism to surrender, let go of the ego, to the teachings of William Waddles and James Allen, and Ralph Waldo Emerson, all the great thinkers, and even today is The Secret and Abraham Hicks, and so many wonderful, gifted people. What I'm wanting to do is to give a method that you can actually, step by step, using the journal processes, clarify which is which. And you, as the person, you can need some guidance to help you get going and help you understand some of the preliminary, let's say, preparations and learning to work it. You become clearer and clearer. And more you begin to realize that you are that spiritual essence, and you are having this human experience. And you can then create simultaneously. You can create more and more effectively. However, it is so important, and it is not easily given or conveyed, separating those two structures. Recently I was involved in a Catholic seminar and discussion, and they were describing their past as to the Christ mind, let's say, and I don't presume to be a teacher of it. We talked about the purgative and the salvific and the unitive, and they described the purgative as the human experiencing pain and suffering in the carnal manifestation of it. And the salvific is when you're starting to connect with the Christ consciousness, the Shekhinah in the Hebrew, or the Buddha mind in the Buddhist tradition. And the unitive is when you start to walk and chew gum. You start to speak from within that disposition of that awakened consciousness, that sky's the limit, that unlimited expanded view, and at the same time have a sense of compassion and hold the human beingness, not only your own human being experience and expression and needs, but also have that compassion and help others. That's the unity. So all law of attraction. And the law of attraction is great because people can hear that and understand that, and there's a wonderful approach to it, where other technologies and teachings are a little more alien or uncomfortable. And this seems to fit the bill for a great many people, law of attraction.
So true. So let's talk about those 4 steps to law of attraction, journaling, mastery.
Right.
What are those, and how can people begin to implement them in their lives?
Wonderful. I'm thrilled to answer and to offer this. We have a journaling program that's available at lawofattractionjournaling.com, and it's absolutely free. And as I say, we're teaching what we're learning, and we do have a Facebook group community. It's a private one, but easy to join. You get the journal, you've got a link to get in there. And there are often all sorts of prompts and directions in terms of using the journaling itself. However, recently, we've added another layer of preparation, let's say, in terms of working with the journal. And we discovered that there are really 4 levels of inside understanding. We call these the 4 steps, nothing magic about it. And they are appreciating contrast, being clear, creating compelling vision, and 4, surrendering to the process.
Wow.
Now, let me just go over them step by step, because we want to make them really user-friendly, bite-sized. There is no person that is willing and open can't get any of this. I mean, this is not rocket science. However, if you are willing to reveal your thinking, put it down like a potter throwing the clay on the potter's wheel, you have to look at what you think and feel. And we start with appreciating contrast. All we're asking people to do for starters, do you appreciate that there are thoughts, feelings that you put down that feel uncomfortable, have a lower vibration, are discerning, are disturbing, discordant, and whatever it is, we really are not so much interested in the content of it, it's just that we know that people are unhappy. And we also know that not being clear and appreciative of that unhappiness is one of the biggest deterrents to creating law of attraction. By law of attraction, what your heart desires. And there's so many people, well, I do this. We're saying you really need to look at what you think and say and do and put it down. So from a third person, like a dispassionate view, how does that feel? And slowly but surely you get clear. That's our second step, getting clear. That is uncomfortable. I am angry. I'm hurt. I'm confused. I'm. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm drinking too much. I'm an alcoholic. Whatever it is, and you start to see, you appreciate the contrast of what's wanted, what's not wanted. You get clear of each of those distinctions. I'm clear that I'm confused. I'm clear that I'm angry. I'm clear that I'm really sullen and fill in the blanks. It's simply you're clear of your human beingness. Those experiences that are discordant and I'm not quite right yet. And, on the other hand, I'm clear that I am, and by the way, being clear that you're unhappy or uncomfortable, that same moment you're clear, you're out of that. You're out of the box, so to speak. You're into a spiritual content. You're clear. Oh. And in that clarity, you're clear, well, wouldn't it be nice if I had this? There's a sense of freedom and flow, and there's an opening to the whole world. You're limited only by your imagination. It's a completely different feeling. Getting clear, appreciating the contrast, are so easy to do, but you do need to reveal your thinking and tell yourself what it feels like. Being true to yourself is simply telling yourself the truth about what you love and what you do. And so here you have it, right there. You immediately get clear what's not yet quite right. You get clear what you love. You start to really value and appreciate your human beingness. That's the passion for it. And to appreciate also that I prefer to feel this way, thank you. I prefer to have that, thank you. Those are the first 2 steps.
Wow. And so when you say appreciating contrast, so that means for listeners all over the world who may be living in third world countries, who may be feeling impoverished or really frustrated, they should, okay, this is what's going on with me. I'm feeling really stuck here. And once they do that, then they can become clear about what they want.
Well, hold on. Well, that's a great step. I think most people get, oh my God, the third world people, what do you do with, oh my God, and they get frozen. All the great advances in civilization occurred because people were in bondage. Think of the children of Israel. Think about all the craziness in the world. I mean, And not only that, but how much suffering, even today, not even, especially today, I should say, because it's so obvious in our news and the web. But the realization that's the first signs of awakening is to realize, I'm lost. It's to feel the crucifixion, to feel the pain, to feel the burning bush, to feel that I am lost, I am helpless. I feel whatever one needs to feel in that moment. And in that clarity is an opening to possibilities. Like all the great people that have emerged to bring people out of bondage, they sat with their own suffering, with their people's suffering, and somehow they got the language, the clarity to say, we can do better. I know there's another way. Let's try to find that. Let's move in it. And slowly but surely you have a consciousness of the heart, a consciousness open to the spirit. Whatever the words are used in any given culture, it's there.
For sure. And clarity is so important. Most people have no idea what they desire for their lives.
and Constance, that is actually the point. It takes, I think, a certain courage to say, I'm lost, I don't know what it is,
Yes.
but let me look at what I'm thinking and spouting off about all day long and doing, and put that thought down and simply look at it. In that moment, it's as though that moment when Helen Keller discovered the signs for water and knew that she had an entree to an entirely different consciousness, a whole new being. And at that moment, you see it right there with what you think and you feel, but it's there. And you don't let it run ragged through your head. You nail it right there like a potter, clay, the words right on that. And it's fixed. And you get to see that these words and thoughts are only your creations. They are not who and what you are.
So true. And so should people monitor their thoughts? How should they deal with their thinking?
Well, I don't think you should do any monitoring.
Okay.
What you think. I mean, because what I'm simply saying, and these are great questions, because, what do you, no, it's simple. Simple, but gosh, it seems to be so difficult and scary to really look at what you think right there on that page. And simply write it down is a big step. And then how does that feel? Oh, however it feels, but it is what it is. And then you can edit it and change it. No one's going to look at it. No one's business. But you are looking at what the heck you think about and feel and all of it. One piece at a time. And then appreciating that feeling. And then appreciating, well, how would I like to feel? And on a separate field of the journal, gee, wouldn't it be nice if I X, Y, and Z, I had some peace and serenity. It really would be nice if I got what Michael was talking about, or any of these people that are, and you suddenly enter a different dimension, and you hold that, and you appreciate the contrast, you get clear. Oh, this feels ugly and awful. I'm clear about that. And I'm clear, not quite so much. I'd rather not have it, thank you. However, I'm clear that this is good. I'd rather have that. And you're starting the journey of awakening, of taking charge of your life and destiny.
As I was researching you, I'm a writer and I love writing. It is just something. I tell people, I feel that when I'm writing, I'm praying. I don't know what's happening, but when I write my feelings and write my goals and intentions, it's something very powerful about writing for me versus just thinking about it.
I suspect for someone like yourself, Constance, who is very much wired into the spirit dimension, the spiritual essence, that when you give your attention to a subject or thought, the words come out, and then those words start stirring something within you. Beyond the intellect is something in knowing, and you're connected to a wider, bigger dimension, to universal whatever. And then you start to make sense of it. This is the way I'd approach for journaling is more intentional journaling. It's similar, same thing, is that you start to first get practice to know that you do have an appreciation now of the contrast, things are uncomfortable, things I desire, getting clear of that, and then in that third step, we talk about that creating compelling vision, where when that opens up, you are more on, I would submit, unconsciously competent at accessing that spiritual dimension of well-being and joy and generosity and spirit, so the words tumble out. You are so wired into that constantly. And as people get clearer of those images, the imagination, imagine wouldn't it be nice if this, or imagine if I could have that or that, the imagine, slowly the juices flow and they're accessing the promise of the universe, of that. That is what law of attraction is. That is what the journal does as a tool to make that law of attraction more accessible.
Well, to me, I've interviewed almost everybody on the law of attraction. It's simple, and it's almost like just a natural flow. Once you write down what you're feeling, you become clear, and then once you're clear, your mind is more open. You're more open to the spirit, so you can be creative, and it's not the struggle that I see a lot of people really going through.
Yes. I would submit, Constance, that you're absolutely right. The key piece is that getting clear of that human beingness, which is another word for struggle, and you start to appreciate it. So the struggle drops away, and your human experience becomes simple guidance, so that you can inform your spirit self, your spiritual essence. And what happens is that you now allow your spiritual presence to reveal itself as a divine self-expression through you in this human form, in the unique way you are meant to express yourself and be of service and enjoy this vibrant dance of life.
Yeah, I love the word enjoy. So with step 3, so do people feel like they have to visualize and do mind movies? Okay.
We don't want to do have, the expression thou shalt not should on yourself. We want to make this effortless. So you see what comes, and images will flood. But keeping it in the journal for more or less, we don't want to make the journal and what you've written like like the gospel. It's simply a tool to access the map, so to speak, of the territory of the heart and soul, so that you can say, yes, this is how I love my house to be. This is how I love to be in relationships. This is the unique way I want to be of service in this life. So you get clearer about that. And you get to know yourself as that clarity, as that awareness in that spiritual dimension. Call it what you like. The words are less important. You know that it's right for you. And that will mean, so we want to expand our spiritual beingness. But the distinction is getting clear the discordant themes are of the ego, the human being, and simply getting to appreciate that so that you now can discern which is which, and you can make those adjustments that are more heart-centered rather than just egoic reactions or old tapes. You're in charge.
So powerful. I know so many people say, well, we just want to get rid of the ego. But you're saying to acknowledge the ego, but to understand the difference between the ego and your heart, or the ego or your spirit.
Because the ego is our lesson in this life. It, just like I had to learn my ego struggles with alcohol, it had to be pacified. And there was a learning in that, a healing in that. And then I could offer, I could use that as guidance to help others that are similarly afflicted.
So
it becomes, it's getting, so I think you're raising this right. People get whipsawed by the human beingness and the spiritual beingness. There's an expression we use called level confusion. Once you get clear of your spiritual beingness, once you get clear of the contrast that the human beingness is your human experience, you then are much more in that unitive experience. You can walk and chew gum. You are now, the road is clear for full expression via law of attraction or any other method or modality that suits you.
So true. And so, doctor, for someone who says, well, everybody desires more abundance and, more money.
Mm-hmm.
So would this be a tool? I could see this being a tool for really people to begin to get in a consciousness of wealth. And we know wealth is a lot more than money. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it's living your purpose. So people could use this for abundance, for love, for whatever they desire once they
Yes,
become
yes.
clear about it.
Well, it's even as simple as getting the wealth consciousness in that, like the 23rd Psalm, the table prepared before me. It's really getting the experience of the enormous wealth of what you've been given, and you're on your way. At the same time, and in a parallel way, you also want to tell the truth. Well, I appreciate, that I have running water, but I don't have hot water. So you start there. You start there, and you start to move. Well, I should say the spirit, the desires, your heart's desires starts attracting more and more. More and more openings occur because you're not buffeted and blocked by the secondary creations of your frustration or anger. You can feel it and you hold that, but that is a guide. Your anger, frustration, your human beingness. I don't have hot water. However, let me appreciate that just as it is, and I do have water. I don't have to go to the backyard anymore. I have an indoor toilet, and you start with this. And I have enough food for today, and I thank you. I had a wonderful... You start to get into that spiritual, loving consciousness. It is really nothing more complicated than that, but I can talk all day long until I'm blue in the face, and I do sometimes, but until you write this down and you make this revelation for yourself, you're just going back and forth. You're in level confusion. So it doesn't matter where you are in this life. It doesn't matter. It matters what you take to heart, what you tell the truth about, the contrast you're appreciating, the contrast you're being clear about, and you start to open up how you love things to be from a disposition of love and appreciation. And then it expands and expands.
Right, and I heard you talk about gratitude and appreciation, and that's so
Mm-hmm.
powerful for people.
Yes.
That's so awesome. So what is step 4?
Step 4 is a very active surrendering to the process. In other words, once we put out our heart's desire, as clear as we can make it, we can go back and look at it, reframe it. Once we're clear of what the truth is and what's not yet quite right, we let it go. We turn it over. However, in that space of openness and expectation and sort of surrendering, faith if you like, but it comes with your own experience in getting this and having this realized for you, that there are actions that are going to be called upon. And we are very clear that these actions need to be reasonable and harmonious. In other words, let's say you want to move in a different way. So the person who awakens in the third world consciousness or just has cold water but no hot water, or wherever you are, once you are clear and clear of what you want, you let the universe start arranging things. The information processing capabilities of the universe has heard you. You're resonating. You've embedded your vision, your desire, your images. Now comes a time that you might say, well, maybe I should talk to the landlord. Is that reasonable? Maybe I might get a better job, or I should start looking at this or that. Or, you see, things will start to come to you. But these are not actions driven of the ego. They're intuitive. I could do this, perhaps do that, and this action, as long as it's harmonious and reasonable and it's respectful of both your human beingness and your spiritual desires, your heart's desire.
Wow.
And then you go ahead. You balance serenity and passion and move ahead because it's working with you. You're going with the flow.
You know, this is so powerful and it's so peaceful to me. I'm just telling you what I'm feeling. And
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it's so of the spirit because I can just see this and I because I hear from people all over the world, doctor, and they're always saying, gotta take action. But when you said harmonious action, and it really comes from a place of surrender. And so when a person is surrendering, does that mean that they are opening themselves up to the spirit to hear, okay,
Yes,
what should I
yes.
do? Okay.
Listen and hear, and you will hear. You'll get intuitive guidance. You start hearing it clearer and clearer. And sometimes you can hear the spirit talking to other people that you feel aligned with. In fact, it's even more powerful that way. Call it the group conscience. Or someone you love and trust, and you're sharing this. Oh my goodness, you've opened up. People they rush in to help you. You don't do this through the ego. You do it through surrendering and connecting with your source, your spirit consciousness, and inviting others in. And, you talk about that third world person. I can imagine that if other people shared that clarity, what that might start doing in that village or community. As they opened up from the heart, and what are those reasonable, harmonious things? Because it's so important the actions not be disruptive to your human beingness. You may want to lose 20 pounds, but it doesn't mean you don't eat for 3 days. You might simply not order the sweets at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? That one little thing.
Yeah.
If that's okay,
Right.
okay. See how that goes. So you're not pushing or getting into resistance. You're simply following a easy does it path. You know that row your boat?
Right. I know that. Uh-huh. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Mm-hmm.
Amen. So I'm saying the uniqueness is you need to reveal your thinking, look up, and then you decide. You kind of meditate on. You maybe ask questions. What is this? What do I want? And you start to work with it from the point of view of, wait a minute, what's wanted here? What's not wanted here? What's it telling me? You just don't let it run shepherded in your head night and day.
Well, I'm thinking because I get emails from all over, and money is the first question that people send to me, doctor, and the
Sure.
second one is love. And I get so many
Mm-hmm.
emails with, Constance, I really want my soulmate, and they don't know how to deal with it. And I'm so lonely, and I'm so alone,
Oh, yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
so whatever. And I can see how they can use this process that you've shared today to really, write down how they feel and then begin to get clearer thought, get a vision of
Well,
love, and then surrender and say, okay, God, okay, Spirit, I know you have great plans for my life and I surrender myself and just surrender to take that harmonious action. I love it.
well, I think it's absolutely spot on, Constance. It's taking the fact if you're seeking love, you need to explore being love. Okay? So when I say about loving, where are you and how are you loving? In what ways? And everyone has had moments where they've been exquisitely loving. And being more and more loving invites more loving. And being appreciative of the wealth that they do have, the table that is prepared before them, an attitude of gratitude and appreciation and joy invites more, and life begets life. So it's that, you see, it's that if someone's saying, gee, I can't find my soulmate, or I just don't, I can't make enough money, or is they're stuck in the lack and the, you see, what's missing? The glass half empty. And that's valid, and you want to appreciate there is this pain and loneliness and poverty of whatever on the one hand, but that is their human being experience. And unless and until they appreciate that as their human being and use it as guidance and move into that dimension of, wait a minute, what is wealth consciousness? It's simply, first let's start being love. Where and how am I loving? Okay, wouldn't it be nice if I could be more loving and appreciative? Wouldn't it be nice if I did feel more gratitude for the abundance that is around me? The abundant air, the abundant sunshine. Everyone has examples of it. And what often gets in the way, the snake in the garden, those thoughts that are of the human, well, but that's not what he has or she, not enough. Okay, but you want to separate those two structures. And the clearer you are, appreciating the contrast of that separation, the clearer you are, the clearer you are. And then you can start to expand and paint the canvas of your desires, how you'd like things to be, and you start attracting them. And
So
you surrender
true.
to the process.
So true. Well, so I want to say to the listeners, Doctor, people can go to the Law of Attraction journaling and they can join and begin the process of journaling. Explain what that would be like for listeners all over the world today.
Well, you mean to the law, well, it's Law of Attraction Journaling.com, is where it's said. And there's all sorts of information on the site, videos, prompts, and things like that. And it is a free sign-up. It's just a username and an email, and you make your own password, and it's an encrypted journal you can work on, and there's instructions how to work with it. We have almost every day or every other day prompts how to work it. We have a Facebook journaling community. And we have weekly seminars on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So there's a lot of help and support. And whenever someone puts something down as a question, I'm right there. They can reach me. But we want to encourage people to find their unique path of being able to separate the heart's desire from their ego's desire. And they're both valid, but you start to learn more and more that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And as you expand and explore that and be comfortable, you're gifted with the ability to attract and manifest more and more effectively your heart's desire. Because you've got those steps, you've got those clarity, that those conditions are met, that you appreciate your human beingness and you understand that you're a spiritual being having that experience.
And
So
Doctor, you are so gracious. I've been on you. I'm looking at that site right now, and I'm just thinking how gracious of you to really give freely of your knowledge and expertise and really your own experience to really shift and change the world. And I just want to say thank you personally.
Thank you.
To my listeners, because just the fact that they can go on this website and really begin the whole process of journaling, I can see how that could really impact and shift people's lives all over the world. Amazing.
Well, it's a vehicle to realize spiritual awakening, to effectively get law of attraction, but it simply means you need to tell the truth, reveal the truth in what you think, and then start paying attention to how it feels, what would feel better, and you're on your way.
Well, once again, that's the Law of Attraction Journaling.com. And
Yes.
I want all of you guys to go on there. So in closing, Doctor, do you have any contact information if people wanted to contact you, or are you writing a book? I know you're a brilliant man intellectually. Are you writing a book, or are you speaking? Do you have seminars, or what's going on?
All the above. Right now, I'm working both in my own personal process in terms of clarifying this and the language to make it more accessible, and developing the technical program itself on the journaling, so it's very accessible, and it's smooth sailing once you get the hang of it through those 4 steps, and developing some programs that will help people get attuned or acclimated to it and get comfortable using it. So there's so many going on, but we're not yet stopping to step back and say, look at this. We are teaching what we're learning. We're in a beta test site, I would call it. Now, to reach me, you can reach me through the journal. You Michael at lawofattractionjournaling.com. It's on the web. There are phone numbers. There are call-ins during the Law of Attraction Journaling community. There's our Thursday seminars. Email me with questions. I'm thrilled to participate and to work and play with others in this great adventure.
Well, thank you. You've been a blessing to the world tonight and even to my own life personally. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Constance. And you know, you are a blessing. You are a vehicle to let this light shine. And I am so grateful to be on your show and to participate.
Well, thank you. Well, once again, this is Constance Arnold with the Think, Believe, and Manifest Talk Show. Remember this, God loves you and I love you. And remember, the best is yet to come. You better believe it.
Thank you for listening to Think, Believe, and Manifest. Constance will be back.